Hi, this is Bob Papa, voice of the New York Football Giants, and this is the Big Blue UK and Ireland podcast.
Welcome back, Giants fans, to this new series that we have been running, and welcome my guest for this episode, one of the admins from the New York Giants UK Facebook page and a man who was instrumental in the planning of the Wapping Tavern meetup in 2022 when the Giants were over with the Green Bay Packers. I'm delighted to be welcomed by Andi Robinson. How you doing, mate?
Not bad, Bert, yourself?
Yeah, all good. Gearing up for the season. And hence why we have this series, really. So we're doing this new series with fans, content creators, and more. We have 5 questions for you, and then a quick fire round of predictions, and then that's it. Nice, short, and sweet. So we get straight into it. Some people will know this, some people won't. So if you go through it again, how long have you followed the Giants, and when did you start?
It was 2007, the first international series game. So that was, 17 years ago? Man, I'm getting old. That's horrifying. Yeah, literally, I was in college and the lads I was friends with at the time wanted any excuse to drink. So there was a game in London. We decided to get together and watch it. Excuse to drink. I don't believe they follow it, but I still do. I tell you, actually, what it came down to is they both said they wanted the Dolphins to win, so I took the Giants out of interest. And yeah, it became a bit of an obsession.
Yeah, it kind of snowballs quite quickly, doesn't it? Considering it's not something from our own country.
Yeah, it's amazing how many times you'll stay up till 5 a.m. to watch a loss.
Or travel thousands of miles to go to the stadium.
Yeah. In Christ, Germany, I'm going out by train because my mate doesn't like to fly. That's should be a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we get into sort of talking about the current season, let's sum up last year a little bit and have a chat about that. How easy is it just to sum it up as bad and move on?
Yeah, it was interesting. Let's put it that way. I don't think anyone saw us coming out and losing 40-0 to the Dallas Cowboys week 1. So I was horrifying, to be honest, and it's a sign that anything can happen in the NFL.
One of the sort of big challenges that we faced last year, obviously you mentioned the slow start with the Cowboys there, but injuries to major players played such a massive part of it as well.
That's just us.
It is just us.
God.
How frustrating is it that year on year, and obviously we had our injury scare yesterday, we were recording this on the Wednesday, and we had the injury scare yesterday with Tyrone Tracy, which seems okay now, but just how frustrating is it as a Giants fan when you see these consistent plethora of injuries that we seem to get?
We have to question why that's happening, because injuries are a part of football. We get that, but it just seemed to be with us. It's time and time again. I mean, things like DJ, we're not used to it. We had Eli Manning. He had so many starts. He was never injured. He played injured. I don't think we realised how good we had it with Eli Manning, to be completely honest. And like towards the end, I was one of them that said we needed to move on and stuff like that. But you don't half miss the man when he's not there. But injuries, I'm glad the lad yesterday's okay. It sounded like an ACL when I first read about it. But is it a twisted ankle? Or sprained ankle, something like that. So thankfully we look like we may get away with that one. But I don't know, maybe we built the training ground on an Indian burial ground or something, because something's not right there.
Yeah, it always seems to be something, doesn't it? It doesn't matter how much we spend. Obviously, we saw Jermaine Illuminor go down in the very, very first practice with contact and thought the worst there, but luckily he was just hit by Dex, which actually I'm not sure if he is lucky or not. I don't think I'd be signing up.
Man, you don't get paid enough for that.
No, definitely not. We've obviously gone through the draft. We've gone through free agency. We're at the sort of tail end of preseason now. Who do you think makes the biggest impact for the Giants this year? And is it obvious?
It has to be Neighbours, doesn't it? Well, you've taken the kid in round one. I haven't watched Hard Knocks, but from what I've heard of it, they made it pretty clear they were looking for a QB. So you've doubled down. You've given DJ finally a number one wide receiver. He's really got to make it happen this season. And staying injury free will be key for him. But Drew Locks apparently didn't look that great in the opening preseason game. Again, I didn't watch that. I'm a terrible fan. I don't know why you've got me on here. I saw the highlights, but I don't know. Is Drew injured?
Yeah, so Drew's got a bone contusion in his hip by the sounds of things. So he thinks he'll be okay for week one, but it's not ideal when the backup quarterback that you've brought in as insurance for the quarterback who is coming off of an ACL is injured himself. And, it could be Tommy DeVito time again if anything happens.
I see it's not ideal. You don't want to start him, but you've got to love the kid. He's got character. But character at QB is not always what you want. I'd rather win games.
I mean, it's no secret. Obviously, we're going to Munich. You guys are going to Munich as well. You'd rather see Daniel Jones under center in Munich than you would Tommy DeVito, right?
Yes. Although, to be fair, to give DeVito credit, I think he could possibly come out of that game with a win. That's not to disrespect the Panthers. It's just ideally, if you're going to go to Germany to watch a game, you'd want it to be against a team like the Panthers. Like the Packers a couple of years ago in London, I think we all expected to lose. So that was incredible to end up winning. But you don't get many of those, especially not if you're playing with your third choice QB. So, yeah, I'd rather have DJ out there. That's not going to lie.
It's funny, isn't it, actually? If you think back to the Packers game that we were both at, and obviously we had that incredible weekend, DJ didn't play too badly in that game. He was generally okay. And that season was the season where we thought we had something.
Yeah, I tell you what, because of where my seats were in the end, we ended up just behind the Giants bench. But I didn't really appreciate how hard he gets hit. And it's the same with Saquon Barkley. Little insteps. It looks decent on TV, but you don't see the actual impact until you see the defender go flying the opposite way, completely out of it. And I got a whole newfound respect for DJ that weekend, just for how hard he does get hit. But he had an incredible game. I didn't think Aaron Rodgers played well at all, but DJ was fantastic.
Yeah, A-Rod will get his part 2 this season, I guess, with the Jets to show up in the UK if he's healthy.
As an NFL fan, I hope it goes longer than it did last season. But as a Giants fan, I couldn't really care. I've got nothing against the Jets, so to speak. But if anyone's bringing a Lombardi back to New Jersey, it's us.
Absolutely. So, without giving a prediction, because that will come in a minute when we sort of do the quickfire round, what are your expectations and hopes for this coming season?
I'm hoping for a better one. Let's put it that way. There was way too many disappointing nights last season that got to me emotionally as well. And I ended up clashing with one of your lads on Twitter after the Seahawks game, and I've got big regrets about that. It was a bad season, but this year with a number one wide receiver, I would hope Dable's learned a lot, because obviously he had the hype of his first season, head coach of the year. Maybe he thought it was going to be easy, and maybe he underestimated it slightly. I would hope he keeps it more in the locker room than on the sidelines this season, because you can't be doing that sort of stuff in front of the cameras. I appreciate he feels it the same way we do, but you can't be throwing your QB under the bus on the sidelines. And I think it cost him the defensive coordinator. So God knows what will happen there. But I've high hopes it will be a better season. But I say that every year, so it could be terrible.
We're just a glutton for punishment, really, aren't we, as Giants fans, especially over the last few years?
It started off so well. Like 2007, I watched my first game in October. We won a Super Bowl in February. It seemed like the easiest thing in the world. And then we win one 4 years later. It's like, man, I support one of the top teams in the NFL. This is amazing. And then it just dived off a cliff.
Yeah, it's been rough since that second Super Bowl win, hasn't it? Or the second one from our perspective of supporting. So
yeah.
Right, so let's wrap this up with some predictions. You're not allowed to choose Malik Neighbours, because you've already said that he's going to be the big boy here. But most valuable Giant on offense outside of Neighbours?
I think it has to be DJ, but I would also give a shout out to Hyatt because I rate that kid highly, and he's got to have a breakout at some point.
I mean, by all accounts, in training camp, he's been one of DJ's top targets. He had the 70-yard touchdown in camp the other day when Neighbours was on the sideline with because he's got an ankle injury at the moment.
Yeah.
So
another one.
Yeah. So you're probably onto a winner there, and I agree absolutely. Hyatt, really need to see more from him this year, but second year is normally when the game, as they say, it's the old cliche, the game starts to slow down a little bit for some of these college players, and we might see something akin to what Andi Robinson was towards the end of last season happen with Hyatt, where he can really break out.
Just got to give him the ball.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Is this another obvious one? Most valuable Giant on defense?
I assume most people will say Sexy Dex, so I'll go with Thibodeau because really he's got to have a show year. He's got to be coming up towards a contract year now. Like, are we at year 3 now?
Year 3 or 5 potentially.
If he doesn't show up and have a 15 sack season or something close to, then I think questions are going to be asked and trade talk may happen next summer. So it's kind of on him.
Do you think that the acquisition of Brian Burns should really help unlock Thibodeau?
You'd hope so. I wouldn't want to face that defensive line. Jesus. Yeah. We've built something nice there. You've got a question. Oh, God, I forgot. Wink, Martindale. You've got to wonder what he's thinking right now because I'm sure he'd love to have worked with a player like Burns. But
yeah, absolutely. Who do you think on the team could be a surprise package akin to like Pinnock last year, where we didn't really expect much, but he actually ended up being very, very good enough that we decided that McKinney wasn't maybe worth the money?
See, I still would put Hyatt into that situation because we just didn't use him last year, and I don't think many people really know much about him. I spoke to one lad a couple of weeks ago, thought we drafted him this season. So I watched a lot of his tape. Was it Tennessee, I believe he was at?
Yeah.
Because I was watching the QB Hooker because I was interested by his story, and obviously watching Hooker, you see a lot of Hyatt. So I was over the moon when we took him, but because of how little we used him last year, if we can use him this year and it gets to breakout status, I think he'll surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, if there's one thing that we've seen in training camp so far this season, and then also in the first preseason game, it's that Brian Daboll as offensive coordinator is not afraid to air it out. And I think that's one thing that will help Hyatt as well with his speed, is that he probably will see more targets because we'll be more open to taking the top off of a defense rather than last year where everything was very much within the sort of 0 to 5 yard range.
My God, I'd love to see it. It's been a while.
Right. We were talking off air before this, so I kind of know where this is going. But team record, come on.
I've got us as 12-5, but I am seriously optimistic.
Is there any reason behind that? Is it the schedule, or do you just feel like we're due a comeback here? Or
it's a mixture of the schedule. I do truly believe in Brian Daboll. I think without the backstage stuff, he'd obviously got a lot going on in the background with Wink. So there was an internal struggle going on there from what I've read. I just kind of feel like it's our time to shine. If we don't win the East this season, I'll be disappointed. And that says a lot because the Eagles are strong, the Cowboys are strong. Even Washington have got a lot of decent stuff going on. And they'll find a way to mess it up. It's Washington, but on paper, it looks fantastic.
Well, let's hope so, because the plan is to hopefully do something maybe with the Commanders game later this season. So we'll wait and see. Because it went so well last year, we might as well try and run it back.
It's always a safe bet with Washington. They tend to be quite good games in our favour.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Well, that's it, Andy. Nice, quick, easy. All the questions done. So thank you so much for joining me. Just before you go, just let everyone know where they can find the UK Giants fan group page across all social.
So it is NY Giants Fans UK, I believe, on Facebook and Twitter. And then through that, you can get to our Discord, which is very quiet at the minute, but that's my fault because I'm not really going into it. So I will get that back up and running and hopefully get a little bit of a community going over the season again. So it was quite good last year. But
yeah, I suppose as the games start to come through, we can get some game chats on there. it should start flowing. So no, absolutely. We'll make sure we link them in the description down below on this video. We hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please make sure to like and subscribe and all that lovely stuff. Our social links will also be in the description down below. But until next time, let's go Giants.